Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Social Sciences, SOSS. Certificate Program in Disaster Management, CDM, English. CDM 02 Disaster Management, Methods and Techniques. Block 1 Increased Understanding of Disasters I. Unit 2 Flood and Drainage, 2.0 Objectives. After reading this unit, you should be able to identify the major flood-prone areas in India. Discuss the various aspects relating to floods like their location, frequency, and intensity and damage resulting on floods. Explain broadly the management and techniques of flood disaster mitigation. Comment on their effectiveness and highlight the lessons learned from the experiences for further improvement. 2.1 Introduction. As we have read in Unit 6 of the Foundation Course in Disaster Management, floods and drainage congestion constitute a phenomenon that has disastrous effects at some place or the other in the country almost every year, resulting in damage, inconvenience and even deaths. In this unit, we shall discuss in some detail the flood scenario in India, the locations that are subject to such problems, the extent of the vulnerability and the damages experienced in the past due to floods and drainage congestion for a better understanding of the ways to deal with the problem, and analyze the experiences so as to draw appropriate lessons FPR, future. The government enactments, as they exist at present and the ones that are under consideration along with the ways of handling flood and drainage problems, will also be examined. 2.2 Flood-prone areas in India. On the basis of T1A, available literature, including reports of expert groups, commissions and key studies sponsored by the government, it has been assessed that 25 out of the 35 states, ILV, UNIRONs of India, are flood-prone. These are Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Orissa, Pondicherry, Punjab, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Tripura, Uttarachal, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. However, the states that are most affected by floods are Assam, Bihar, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh, and West Bengal. The flood effects are also serious in Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and the northeastern states. The National Flood Commission Report, 1980, identified the country's flood-prone area as 40 million hectares. However, 110 all areas are affected in a year and the situation keeps varying from time to time. Only on average, in a year about 8 million hectares get affected. A detailed analysis by a non-government organization, NU, identified 190 districts out of total number of districts in India is prone to flood. Acute drainage congestion is experienced in parts of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Haryana, Punjab and the deltaic areas of Andhra Pradesh, Orissa apart from some local areas in other states. The most flood-prone areas in India lie in the Ganga, Brahmaputra and Barak river basins. The Indus and its tributaries cause flood problems in the northwest region of India. Among the central India and Deccan rivers, the Narmada, the Tapi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri are important ones. The regions covered by these rivers cause flood problems, but these are not generally serious ones. There are occasional floodings in some other smaller rivers like the Brahmini, the Batarani and the Subarnarekha. Most of these rivers also cause problems of flooding and drainage in their lower, particularly the deltaic regions. The National Flood Commission, based on an analysis of the flood-affected area and population affected as reported by the various states, 1966 to 1978, found that more than half the area affected in India by floods lie in the three states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and West Bengal. Similarly, over half the population in these three states are affected by floods. The figures in this regard were equally high in the states of Orissa, Assam and Andhra Pradesh. In a vast country like ours, the problem of floods varies from year to year and area to area. However, broad generalizations were made by the Central Water Commission in respect of T-A identified flood regions of the major rivers such as the Brahmaputra, Ganga, the northwestern rivers and the central India and Deccan rivers. The main problem in the Ganga-Brahmaputra region are drainage congestion, bank erosion, landslides, aggradation, channel changes and their regime changes. The central India and Deccan rivers have well-defined and stable channels but drainage congestion and damage in the floodplains including the delta are common problems. The Central Water Commission has been maintaining detailed data and derives information on state-wise flood-prone areas and damage statistics. They also publish such information periodically. The Flood Atlas of India published by them contains some very useful information. The National Flood Commission has also brought such UEFUL details on flood-prone regions of India and the efforts of administration towards flood management. 2.3 Major floods. India has been affected significantly by heavy floods from time to time. During the past 50 years, the floods of 1954 caused widespread damages and attracted the attention of the public and the Parliament and brought into sharp focus the inadequacy of the measures taken to tackle the situation. The floods of 1954 marked the launching, at the national level, of the flood control program. The Central Water Commission started receiving from all the state governments details of damages caused by floods from 1953 and since then they have been compiling the flood damage details. The summary flood damage picture of India, as reported by the Chief Engineer, Flood Management, Central Water Commission at a National W.K. shop held in 1993, is as under. Some flood damage parameters, period 1953 to 90. Look at the screen. It may be emphasized that the intensity and extent of floods and the corresponding flood damages vary from year to year. Still the years 1977, 1978, 1979 and 1988 have recorded severe damages, as reported by the states. In the decade commencing from 1991, the severe floods of 1995 would be too recent to be forgotten. It will neither be possible nor necessary to discuss in detail all the floods that have been experienced, but we could briefly set forth the salient features of 2 or 3 major floods that occurred in recent times. 2.3.1 Location. 5 states viz. Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Orissa and Assam have been identified as most prone to floods. This does not mean that all these states will experience high floods in the same year or at the same time, nor that the other states I1 not have high floods. It Y11 on IY indicate that, in an average year, the flood damages reported from these states are likely to be a very significant fraction of the total damages reported in that year. But there are exceptions. For instance, the flood damage in 1977 in Andhra Pradesh alone was more than half the damage in India that year. In 1978, the flood damage in Uttar Pradesh alone was 56% of that experienced in India that year. During the period 1953 to 1990, the year 1978 witnessed a significantly damaging high flood. The area affected, the extent of loss to the population, houses as reported by the state government, were very high. The loss of human lives was the highest in 1977, which was essentially due to the very high loss suffered in Andhra Pradesh that year. Similarly, the loss of cattle was the highest the year 1979, which was mainly due to excessive losses in Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat and Rajasthan. However, the total damage to crops, houses and public utilities was the highest in 1988. During 1978, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal and Bihar accounted for more than 2.1 IRDs of the area and population affected in LNDI greater than over 4/5 of the houses damaged in India also lay in these 3 CLTs. Over 90% of the cattle loss that year was in West Bengal, 3/4 of the loss of lives was in 3 states mentioned. In short, we could say that over 2/3 of the national damage due to the floods was in these 3 states viz. Bihar, West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh. In addition, contrary to normal or average picture, the area affected in Rajasthan was also very high that year, perhaps next only to that of the highest recorded in 1977. The National Flood Commission had noted that in the triennium of 1976 to 1978, floods and calamities of that type were widespread, affecting most states outside the traditional flood-prone zone. This latter group includes Andhra Pradesh and Rajasthan and to a lesser extent Gujarat and Haryana. The year 1988 was marked by severe floods in the Ganga-Brahmaputra river system. In fact, the combined Ganga and Brahmaputra flows that pass into the Bay of Bengal through Bangladesh created the severest flood conditions and the largest damage to date in Bangladesh. The Brahmaputra broke all previous high flood level marks all along the rivers in Assam also. The report of the Committee on Flood Management in the northeastern states indicates that the area, population, affected, damage to houses and loss of human lives was the highest in 1988 during the entire period 1953 to 1989. The total damage in Assam that year was also the highest on record in THLS period. West Bengal and Uttar Pradesh also suffered, but the damage was the severest in 1978. In respect of the extent of area and population affected, 2.3.2 frequency and intensity. The pattern of rainfall varies from year to year and location to location. The pattern of the river flows generated from precipitation and the runoff into the rivers also varies from year to year. From a study of the behavior of rainfall and runoff, wherever long periods of recorded statistics are available, many generalized inferences have been drawn. The frequency and intensity of floods have also been assessed for different locations based on such data, wherever structures are constructed or proposed across or along rivers, in order to ensure their reasonable safety. It must also be kept in mind that flood losses in the flood plains tend to vary with the type of use to which the land is put. Also, the relative eye safety of the designed structures, embankments etc., is a matter of balancing between the costs and risks that could be taken. It will not be always possible to plan for the highest degree of safety for all floods, irrespective of the anticipated intensity or frequency. Within the limitations of present knowledge and requisite data, scientists and engineers predict the intensity and frequency of the flood of different orders of probability. They indicate the statistical probability in terms of 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 years return period. It should be possible, with the help of available data, to estimate the likely intensity and frequency of floods. Specified locations which would facilitate in designing, constructing and maintaining viable protection schemes. As an example, it could be pointed that in the case of embankments, the height of embankments for different flood frequencies and also the corresponding costs are worked out taking into account the damage likely for these relative frequencies. A common practice followed in many places is to design for a 1 in 25-year frequency flood to protect predominantly agricultural areas, whereas for protection of vital installations 1 in 100-year flood frequency is used. 2.3.3 Damage caused by floods. The damage resulting from floods is not only dependent on the intensity and frequency of the flood that occurs at a location, but also is a reflection of the extent of human interference with nature, such as construction of structures across or along the floodway and the manner of utilizing the floodplains for human activities. The manner of assessing the damages is also to be taken note of. The damage statistics are presently maintained by the state governments and are subject to various limitations. The states also maintain these details only on the basis of administrative jurisdictions, like taluk, village or district. Thus the flood damage statistics now available are mainly state-wise and year-wise. They do not indicate breakup event-wise, river-wise or reach-wise. Their scientific study and analysis become difficult and not always possible. 2.4 Causes of drainage congestion. Areas that are flooded when water due to rainfall and or river spill is not able to drain off as quickly as considered desirable are referred to as cases of drainage congestion. Stagnation behind embankments of water due to insufficient drainage capacity in sluices falls in the same category. Thus usually drainage congestion and flood are expressions used collectively in common usage. Numerous large-scale saucer-shaped depressions are found in Uttar Pradesh. Bihar, West Bengal, Assam etc., which are locally called chors, jheel, or BCELS. Due to meandering nature of a river, many oxbow lakes are also formed. These act as storages of flood water which do not get drained easily into the river. After the floods subside, most of these become drainage congested areas. LN. Peninsular rivers also nearer the sea coasts, there are similar areas of drainage. Congestion between known courses of rivers which create drainage problems. These get compounded by coastal drift which forms bars across the sea face. 2. 5. Flood management, major steps. Since the start of the National Flood Management on a planned basis in J 954, the main thrust of flood management efforts has been on structural measures to modify the floods and flood protection works, essentially. These comprise the following: 1. Embankments, flood walls. 2. Storage reservoirs. 3. Detention basins. 4. Channel improvements. Over the years, it has been realized that Flood Manager NCR is also possible through other types of activities, such as modifying the SISC-TBIITV to flood damage and modifying the LAS burden, FLST, plain management, flood R, H, JING, disaster preparedness, flood forecasting and warning, and redevelop.end are steps that attempt to modify the susceptibility to flood damage. Infactile realization in recent years is that the non-succural measures are indeed very effective in reducing LOL de la GCs. These are also, in most cases, the least cause solutions to the problem of mounting losses. Emergency measures like CLUQation, flood fighting, public health efforts and redistributive measures like the H1I, relief, tax relief, or flood insurance are steps towards modifying the loss burden. In the earlier period, there was much dependence on structural measures. As damages continued to mount, the current emphasis is on the non-structural measures. 2.6 Post-flood rehabilitation measures. The main thrust of disaster management should be shifted away from the present relief approach towards disaster mitigation. In fact, it is increasingly felt that all development projects in vulnerable areas should be linked with and used to the maximum extent as disaster mitigation machinery. In a poor country like ours, relief doles and such recurring expenses without attacking THC root cause by disaster mitigative efforts will be a wasteful luxury. Hence, full post-rehabilitative measures should also aim at mitigation of disasters that are likely to arise in future. In the field of flood management in particular, we must realize that a lack of discipline in respecting the river's domain in the form of floodplain, without adequate safeguards, is to be avoided. The approach to management of floods should include a package of measures like assessment of the vulnerability, delineation of vulnerable area, publishing the information on vulnerability at D, IFFL, L, NT levels of probable floods, floodplain regulation etc. In the present limited context of the disaster preparedness measures, after any flood disaster event, the many desirable steps would include the following: I. A realistic assessment of damages. E. Recording the extent of the natural event, the flood level etc. E. Resettlement of affected persons in areas which would be safe in a likely event of similar nature in future. IV. Reconstruction of safe and flood-resistant buildings. Natural disaster management, including flood disasters, in the late 70s, involved an approach of risk management instead of the earlier crisis management approach. Thereafter, it reoriented itself towards integrated disaster preparedness approach. This now involves reliable early warning arrangements, carefully planned emergency response and better community preparedness. Such changed emphasis aims at restricting unpredictable components of relief activities and increased resources and activities for enabling the affected PP to meet the next likely disaster in the future in a better manner. It will be seen that the strategy of disaster mitigation would lessen the impact of disasters in the long run. 2.7 Lessons learned for further improvement. The experience of handling the flood management 111 surtildes in the first 3 decades was carefully examined by a high-level expert body called the National Flood Commission, and its findings were made available in I-980. It had made many valuable recommendations for effective flood damage reduction and offered suggestions for flood management policy. Anyone interested in a study of the flood management in India would greatly profit by a careful study of its report, as also the guidelines and instructions for the implementation of the report issued by the Government of India in 1981. Those who look forward to an update thereof could also look the reports of two committees set by the Government of India to study the flood situation in 1987 in the northeast and in lower Ganga basin, as also Orissa rivers. The recommendations made in the A reports are still valid to a significant extent. The revised approach disaster management mentioned earlier is another relevant matter. The salient elements of the lessons drawn in flood management would include the following. Flood management should be viewed in a broad perspective, forming an integral part of the overall water resources development and the economic development of the region. Various alternative measures, physical or otherwise, should be studied for flood management and the optimum combination of measures selected. Embankments, storages, detention basins etc. should be considered in a comprehensive manner to identify and weigh the positive and adverse effects. Measures to modify the susceptibility to flood damage should be increasingly adopted. P100 deep line zoning, which is one of the most effective ways of minimizing flood damages, should be adopted. Adequate maintenance of completed works should be ensured to avoid DDING to the damage potential. The active participation of the people concerned at all stages of a project for flood management should be ensured. The importance of appropriate organization, coordination, machinery, training, research etc. has to be emphasized. Encouragement to disaster mitigation policies should also be urged. 2.8 Government enactments pertaining to flood management. Under the Constitution of India, the legislative jurisdiction of the Union Government on regulation and development of interstate rivers and river valleys is subject to the extent to which such regulation and development under the control of the Union is declared by Parliament to be expedient in the public interest. Subject to this provision, the subject of water is within the legislative powers of the states. There have been no significant enactments or follow-up of available provisions so far by the Union government. There is no comprehensive enactment by the states either on flood management. The National Flood Commission had recommended that the central government should prepare a model bill dealing with all aspects of flood management to serve as a guide to the state governments. There were many other suggestions advocating legislation, but there is no existing legislation dealing with flood management. The National Water Resources Council adopted the National Water Policy in 1987. This contains many elements relating to flood management. However, these do not have any constitutional or legal binding as yet. An examination of the ways to deal with floods and drainage congestion brings out the fact that there is no unique solution to this problem which is applicable in all situations and locations. A package of available measures within the overall framework of water resource development is available, and a specific measure or combination of measures in a given situation is a matter for careful study. In the same manner, the mitigation of flood losses is a complex matter which involves, in addition to nature's behavior, human actions by way of intrusion into the floodplains without adequate safeguards. The specific steps to be taken are also a matter of benefit-cost study of possible solutions considering the risk element that is involved in different degrees of protection under different probability levels. Thus, this is a matter for expert multidisciplinary study and decision-making. 2.9 Summary. Vast areas of India are subject to problems of floods and drainage congestion. In particular, the states of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Assam and Orissa are likely to suffer more. Most of the time in a year, large damages occur in one portion or the other of India. Essentially, the high precipitation concentrated over a few days in a year and the inability of the active river channel to carry it away safely, coupled with indiscriminate human encroachment into the flood plain, are responsible for the mounting flood damages. There are a number of possible ways of dealing with the matter, and the specific solution or package of Measures is a matter for expert multidisciplinary study and decision making. While both structural and non-structural options are possible, the emphasis in recent years has been on non-structural measures and on planned disaster mitigation efforts. The costs and benefits arc linked with the extent of risk taken. 01. Perm ITTCD under D IFR and probability levels of severity of future floodings. People's participation at all stages of such projects enhances the chances of enlightened cooperation of the people in disaster preparedness and management. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.